Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Poets and Quants' online MBA panel. Today, we're talking about the student experience at UNC's Kenan-Flagler's online MBA program. I'm your host, Christy Bleizeffer with Poets and Quants, and please feel free to use the Q&A function to submit any questions you have for our panelists. I'll do my best to get to them at the end of the session. I want to welcome our guests today, and thank you for taking the time. Well, let's dive right in with Laura. Why don't you start by introducing yourself, your school, its mission, values, and reputation?
Hi, everyone. My name is Laura Tremaine, and I am the Associate Director of Admissions for the online MBA program at UNC Kenan-Flagler. Our program has been in existence for 11 years now. We've had many other MBA programs though that have been around a lot longer, but this one was developed 11 years ago, and it is taught by all UNC faculty, the same faculty who teach in our full-time MBA program and our executive MBA program. Our program is, we're located here in Chapel Hill, but of course, being an online program, we have students from all over the country and all over the world that take part in our program. We have about 900 students currently enrolled in the program. So the mission statement here at Kenan-Flagler is just that we build and inspire business leaders who make the world a better place. So we're excited to talk to you today and to tell you a little bit more about our MBA online program.
Great, thank you. Well, let's just dive, Laura, into a few more of those nuts and bolts of the program. Can you share a little bit about the concentrations offered, when they might be selected, and what guidance and support do students receive in the process?
Sure. Well, we offer maximum flexibility to our students. So to talk a little bit about how the program works, we've got 4 different start dates: January, April, July, and October. And students can finish their MBA in as few as 18 months and all the way up to 3 years. So again, lots of flexibility based on what timing a student wants. All students in the program will take 62 credit hours, and about half of those are core classes and the other half are electives. We have a wide range of electives because we do have such a big program. We really can have a big offering for students to choose from. And we do have 6 different concentrations that students can choose. Now, you don't have to choose a concentration if you don't want to. And I think that that's kind of the nice thing about our program too. If you want to have a concentration and really have a focus on something, you are able to do that. But if you just want to take the classes that are of most interest to you and kind of take classes that got across all concentrations, then you can certainly do that too. But the concentrations we do offer are data analytics and decision-making, entrepreneurship, finance, management and leadership, which is a new concentration that we've had for about a year now, marketing, and strategy and consulting. So students will typically take about 2 classes every quarter. These classes have required 90 minutes synchronized class times each week. So we offer classes all days of the week, typically in the evenings from about 5 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, this helps us accommodate schedules across the United States and around the world too. And these synchronized classes, as I mentioned, are required. So students must be in attendance to these classes. And this is something that I think is really important with our program because we do have this obligation. It helps students to really forge strong relationships with their classmates. And then they also have the asynchronous work that they're going to do throughout the week. So I think that this, again, balance of having the synchronous and asynchronous content really helps students have that flexibility, but then also that accountability each week.
Yeah, very good. Lei, why don't you take a minute to introduce yourself and what led you to pursue an MBA?
Sure, thank you. So my name is Lee Schultz. I am I guess you could call me a second-year student in the online program, and you may hear me refer to it as MBA at UNC. Because that's often what we call it. So I wanted to go back to school to get an MBA. I am a working professional like everyone in the program, and I have 20 years of work experience under my belt. And most of my business knowledge was all empirical. And I really wanted to go back and fill in the holes in my business knowledge and then explore a bit what, career opportunities might be once I had this additional academic experience. And the reason I chose UNC, so I'm actually a UNC alum. I have another graduate degree actually in the sciences and chemistry from UNC. And I had sort of evolved my career toward the business aspects in the pharmaceutical industry. I work for a large pharmaceutical company now on the commercial side. And so UNC offered me both a supportive environment, but a really challenging academic environment, and is helping me fill in those holes. And I chose it over other online MBA programs. I needed the flexibility of an online program, but UNC's 10 years, 10, now 11 years of history in online, I knew that UNC knew what they were doing with an online program. And I've definitely found that to be true.
Yeah. So Lee, can you tell us a little bit about the learning experience, course load, emphasis on group work versus individual work? And, what is the student culture, group organizations like there?
Yeah, I can. So Laura mentioned that you can self-pace through this program. So there are synchronous sessions in each of the classes. Most folks take during core 2 classes at a time. And that for me ended up being about 20 hours of work a week when I added up synchronous sessions, studying, doing the asynchronous work. There is a balance between group and individual work. I would say most of the work is individual, but every single class has a group component in one way or another. And some classes are more group work oriented than others. It's a little bit of a logistical challenge, of course, when you've got working professionals and not everyone is in your time zone to schedule that group work. But quite honestly, that's something we deal with in our day jobs. And so it's something that we handle as part of our MBA program. And there's some learning involved in doing the group work always. What surprised me, though, is your question around clubs and what are the extracurricular type activities. I thought going into an online program that it was going to be all work and kind of no extracurricular because everyone had day jobs. It's actually an incredibly rich experience from an extracurricular perspective. So the online program doesn't have the depth of clubs, structured club experiences that the full-time MBA does, or even the executive MBA, because we're not on campus on a regular basis, but also because we're working professionals and everyone has a full-time day job. But we have so much kind of unstructured interaction. My phone is full of whether it's texts for groups for classes I've been in, or just kind of study groups, friends that I've made, that honestly, the online program, because we are all working professionals from different walks of life, different industries, and even different geographies, is such a rich cohort of students. And because we don't pace together as a cohort, because we can choose what our pace is through the classes, we actually meet a huge variety of that really large student number that Laura mentioned, right? So it ends up being a really, really rich networking experience and rich class discussions because of the fact that we all bring a day job perspective and years of experience to the program. And we take that outside the classroom and sort of self-assemble into whether it's areas of interest. There are lots of structured opportunities that aren't clubs. So I should mention, we have a student advisory board that I'm part of, that we work as a small student group of, I think it's 15 to 20, to work with the administration, to give feedback from students, to suggest whether it's changes or improvements we'd like to see, or to convey messages from the administration back to the student population. That's a really productive, fun way to be involved. We also have student ambassadors. I'm one of those, probably why I'm here today, but I talk to lots of students who are applying and trying to make decisions and understanding what it means for their lives. And we have some in-person opportunities. We can actually enroll in classes that are full-time MBA classes or executive MBA classes. I've taken a class on campus in Chapel Hill over a weekend. We can also do short-term study abroad programs, and I had the opportunity to do that in Israel actually over the holidays. And we can take a policy class, business and public policy class called the Washington campus. In Washington, D.C., all of those are in-person opportunities as well. So it can be as rich and as in-person as you want to make it, I think. But the flexibility and the ability to pick and choose how we interact is one of the great things about the program.
Yeah, really excellent insight on that. What about work-life balance? What has that experience been like for you? And do you have any advice for other prospective students?
Yeah, I think, thinking about this question in advance, I think it shifted from work-life balance to work-school balance for me. Because there's an opportunity cost, right, to getting an MBA. You have to make a commitment, and it does, I mentioned 20 hours a week. It takes a lot of time. I honestly made the choice not to come back and get my MBA until my kids were grown. Right, for me, that was the right choice. I have other classmates who have very small children, who have kids in elementary, high school, and folks who have no kids. Right, and they're all making their own life choices as well. I will say it cuts into your social life. You have to be prepared for that. Most weekends, most nights, I'm doing something for school. It's pretty rare that I'm not somehow engaged in a school activity, because you have to move things forward to be ready for the next synchronous session.
Yeah, well, that's kind of expected on a rigorous program, obviously. So, Laura, what would you say is the key differentiator to your MBA program?
Sure. Well, I like to talk about 3 differentiators because it's really hard to choose one. There's so many things that I think really set us apart. So the first one, I think, is our small class size. So we are a really large MBA program, but we operate like a really small MBA program in terms of the fact that we have at most 18 people in every single class that we offer. And this is very unusual and unique. And when I say 18, I don't mean that's the average size. I mean that every single class that you will take with our program has only 18 or less people in it. So that includes your core classes as well. So that's why we're also able to offer so many of those core classes at different times of the week and give that flexibility to our students. But that small class size changes the whole dynamic of a class. So everyone is required to be in that class, number one. You're required to be on camera. You're participating, you're seeing faces, you're getting to know people really at a very close level with your faculty and those students. And that is how you're really forging those strong relationships. And again, that accountability that you have, not only to yourself to be prepared for class every week, but to your classmates, really helps encourage those, life-changing relationships. And that just, I think, really impacts the program for people. So that small class size, I think, is really unique for such a large program. And then the second one I would like to talk about is our summits. So our summits are something really special to our program. We offer them on a quarterly basis. So twice a year, students can choose to come to Chapel Hill for a summit. And these summits are track-based, meaning that students get to choose a topic they want to do a deep dive into, whether that's personal leadership or team leadership. Sometimes we offer entrepreneurship, consulting, healthcare, sustainability. We're able to offer these, really enriching, deep topics. And you spend all weekend with a group of people exploring those topics with different faculty from UNC, having sessions in those topics. And then you get to also be on campus. So you get to truly embrace being a Tar Heel, touring the campus, maybe even if you're lucky, going to a basketball game at the local games in town. And so Chapel Hill summits are really fun. We have over 200 students that come into town and stay. It's a 3-day affair. And then if we're not hosting one in Chapel Hill, we have 2 that are international throughout the year. So again, this is a really unusual opportunity to travel to a different country with a group of 120 some of your students and learn about how they do business in that place. So this past September, we traveled to Zurich, Switzerland, and we learned all about doing business in Switzerland. And it was fascinating to think about kind of the idea of Swiss neutrality and about the historical perspective of the Swiss and the different industries that are so important to them with banking and watchmaking and chocolate and sustainability and all of this. And then really consider how that impacts the way we do business with them and they do business with the world. So that was fun. And we also then get to learn about that region. So we went to the FIFA World Headquarters and toured there. We, different students did tours throughout the historical part of the city, and even some lucky students, and myself included, got to go on a Lindt chocolate factory tour. And that was really fun. So it was just a neat way to have this shared experience with your classmates in this really intense time. And honestly, students, everyone was talking that they feel that these summit experiences changed their whole MBA experience because they just grow so close with their colleagues over this 3-day period. And it really changes the whole way that I think that they interact with the program going forward and with those students. And so summits are truly special, unique opportunities. And then the third one I would say is just our Tar Heel family. So whether it's the current students that you're in class with or the lifelong network of alumni that you have, being a Tar Heel and having those Kenan-Flagler connections are truly unique, because I really feel that the people we draw into our program are just very collaborative people. They're people who care about their community, about others, helping others. And when they go through our program, having that rich, intense MBA experience with people, it makes them want to give back to other people who are going through the program, other alumni, make those connections. I hear all the time from alumni that they were looking for a connection at a specific company. They went on LinkedIn. Within a minute, they were able to find a Kenan-Flagler grad, and they were able to connect with them within a day, sometimes just hours. They had an email back, a time set up to either, have a Zoom call or meet for coffee. And just that whole idea of always wanting to help, having those people out there that you just know you have this connection with through Kenan-Flagler, and it makes all the difference. So our network truly is unique, I think, mainly just because of the people who come to our program, and it is something that you'll have forever. So I love that about it.
Wow, I really want to go on a summit. That sounds amazing.
They really are.
Yeah. Lee, what would you say are kind of the biggest hallmarks of your student experience, the things that you'll remember or had the greatest impact?
Yeah, so I think, first of all, really rigorous core program. I think walking in, I get a lot of questions from people who say, oh, it's an online MBA, you have a lot of asynchronous work, is it really the same? And it's incredibly rigorous. The core program that we have. And then post-core, we have a whole year where we have an opportunity to explore through a wide variety of electives and different kinds of experiences. And in fact, I am like running out of credits to do all of the things that I want to do. So I can't say enough about how rigorous the curriculum is, but also how much variety there is in the learning opportunities. So that's number one for me. Second has to be the flexibility. It's a rigorous program, but it really is flexible for your life and for your day job. And everyone in the program understands that, you have a day job and you have other commitments. Most of us have families, but not all. The flexibility is really, really an important part of the program, and something that's really worked into how the program works, I think, for everyone. Just the fact that we don't track as a cohort and you can speed up or slow down the program to meet your life needs or your day job needs, I think is an important part. And third, I would go back to that rich kind of extracurricular, whether it's the network that Laura mentioned, the richness of your cohort, and the people that you meet in classes. It truly is diverse, whether it's years of experience in industry, the different industries we work in, the kinds of life experiences people have, where they are geographically, their academic backgrounds before they came to the MBA. It is truly diverse. And as an older MBA student and someone who in my day job manages people, it was an unexpected learning experience for me to get to go to school with people who are more the generation that I tend to manage. Yeah. And that's a wonderful learning experience for me to be able to kind of ask questions and have that shared learning experience with them. So I think that the diversity and the richness of the extracurricular space is something I would really call out about this program.
Yeah, very good. Lori, we have a great question from our chat function that I'm going to give you a chance to answer. Do the online students have the same kind of full access to career development resources as the on-campus students?
Yeah, great question. So yes, we have career coaching that's exclusive to our online MBA program. So we have dedicated career coaches who work with students from day one. You can set up appointments anytime with them. They are at our summit, so you can have in-person meetings with them there. And they will provide you with many resources. We've got job listings, job boards, and then we have lifelong career coaching. So after you leave the program, you always will have a career coach that you can make appointments with and consult with and have those conversations with. Now, of course, it is different than in a full-time MBA program where you're having employers coming and recruiting and summer internships, and that's very different. But most people are working professionals who may be job searching, and there's definitely resources for those jobs, but it's going to be different in terms with that level of engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, why don't you kind of tell the viewers out there how they can learn more, how they can connect with you, and maybe what's the next step if they're interested?
Great. Yeah. So our website is extremely comprehensive. It has a listing of different courses we offer, all of the concentrations. You can see how you would map out your core classes and your electives in an 18-month idea, or maybe a 3-year. So there's lots of great information on the website. And once you click a button to start an application, you will be paired with your own admissions counselor who will reach out to you and kind of walk you through the whole admissions process. So that's probably the best way to get started. Of course, you can also email our email inbox, which is online MBA admissions at Kenan-Flagler.unc.edu. And that's going to be on our website too. But you can email that email with any questions. But I'd say just starting an application and being paired with someone that you can talk to and ask those questions right away, that's probably the best way.
Well, that's great. And thank you both for your great insights and conversation. I think, people really learned a lot about the online MBA at Kenan-Flagler. And thanks to all the viewers out there for your time and attention. You can find more insightful panels on a whole host of online MBA programs on our YouTube page or on our website at poetsandquants.com. And again, I've been your host, Christy Blyzeffer, and until next time, stay informed.